All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. Well, Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff are in the headlines, making headlines. Busted, folks. Lots of stuff coming down on the deep state. This is not the time to be messing around with Trump. Nancy Pelosi, insider trading, Adam Schiff, mortgage fraud. Ross, we've been covering this for a while.
Yeah.
Actually, before these stories even hit, you and I were doing shows, what, like 6 months ago, a little longer, maybe?
Yeah,
on
probably.
This,
That's about
on
right.
this topic.
Yeah, no, and look, we've been tracking this for years. I mean, I think the cat is finally coming out of the bag and people are realizing it. It's got to be, you know how it is with Congress. It's got to be so blatantly obvious before anyone recognizes it. But yeah, we've been tracking Pelosi's trades for years. I mean, this woman's made hundreds of millions of dollars in some of the most egregious examples of insider trading ever. You and I have talked about several of them.
Right, and I got to say, I'm proud to say I've joined your team. I'm doing what you guys are recommending. I just cannot believe we are now living in the time. I call it the boomerang when this stuff is coming back to these people big time. We got Nancy Pelosi, and here's Adam Schiff creates legal defense amid Trump spurred inquiry. So mortgage fraud is going to wrap a lot of these people up. I've had other guests talking about the mortgage fraud. I had Sean Taylor on talking about the mortgage fraud. He's mapped it all out. He's a chief of police deputy in we're in Tennessee, I think it is, and he has been mapping this for 15 years, and he's mapped it all together, put it all together, web of intricacies on all of these, all of the laundering, all the mortgage fraud that Adam Schiff and many others have been allegedly guilty of, right? But
Yeah.
the big one now that's hitting not just Adam Schiff but Nancy Pelosi. Here we are. So, I brought you on to talk about, give a financial report. My audience loves this stuff. And you've been tracking Pelosi for how long?
Well, we've been tracking all of them since 2017, and really before that, but we've been doing it like as a service, buying the stocks they buy since 2017, and we've beaten the market every single year. Like
But
it's not.
but what they're doing is going to be illegal. What you're doing is totally legal.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing, right? So what people don't realize about this stuff, and listen, it's both the politicians like Pelosi, it's also executives like CEOs and CFOs. You know, if you're the
Celebrities.
head of a little pharmaceutical company, you just found the cure to baldness or cancer or something. You know when that public's going to shoot the stock up, they're allowed to go buy their stock right before they report this stuff. And so we've been following along and just looking for these egregious examples where it's super obvious, like with Pelosi. You know, when she wants to buy something, like before they passed the CHIPS Act, she put $5 million into NVIDIA out of nowhere. And not just NVIDIA, but NVIDIA stock options, like this leveraged, time sensitive, all or nothing $5 million bet, while she just so happens to be drafting legislation that would give subsidies to semiconductor companies. It's like kind of obvious, you know?
Yeah, and now Doge is going to be looking into these politicians that where they're with what they're worth is not adding up to their salaries, right? So here we are looking at exposing Doge's dark dealings. Wait, household. Oh, this is something different, I guess. Oh, this is not not what I want to show. What I want to show is Doge. Well, Doge. I'll pull up the article in just a second, but let's comment on this. Doge is looking into the politicians whose salary doesn't match their net worth.
Yes. And I'll go ahead and tell you what they're going to find. And by the way, if this angers everybody, you're not going to see me get very upset about it. It's not that I don't think it is unethical. It absolutely is. The silver lining to all this is that we can follow their trades. And the only good thing for us is when these executives, when these politicians are buying stocks, they have to report it publicly. Now, most people don't know that. If they do, they don't know where to find it. That's what we do. We've done it since 2017. We're up 1,900% on our portfolio of recommendations since. And trust me, it works. So if you want to learn about that, we're having a training event coming up this Thursday. If you want to click the link below. But yeah, here's what they're going to find. And today, you know, everything is digital. Like I'm sure in the 50s and 60s, politicians left for home with a briefcase full of cash or gold bars, right? But I mean, money laundering wasn't even a crime until the 80s. But you can't do that anymore. Even if you did give them a suitcase full of cash, you got to deposit it somewhere. They got to get it in the system. There'd be a paper trail.
Here it is. Elon Musk reveals Doge's new target. Members of Congress who got strangely wealthy. And how? Insider trading.
Yeah,
Here
well,
it is.
because the thing is, like, that's not traceable, right? So if you wanted to give a politician $5 million, $10 million to get them to go your way on a piece of legislation, you can't write them a check. But what you could do is say, my company or my neighbor's company or whatever is going to announce this on September the 15th. The stock is almost guaranteed to shoot up. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You may want to go buy 100,000 shares. The stock shoots up. They make several $1 million on the trade, and it's untraceable. Even if you're 99% sure that's what happened, unless you've got hard evidence, a recording of them saying, I'm giving you this stock tip, so they can't prove it.
So
And
what do you think? How do you think this is going to play out, Ross? I mean, so Doge is going to go out. Obviously, it's a new target members of Congress. How many do you think could be guilty of this, of insider trading?
at least half. Yeah,
What?
at least half. And some more egregiously than others. The Pelosi's of the world that do this on a big scale. There was one just last week, Representative Mike Kelly. And this was a huge investigation. Google this, the Mike Kelly Cup. There's a 23-page House Ethics Committee finding. They presented it. They did a 5-year investigation on this guy. They
Mike
have
Kelly.
him,
What do I put Mike Kelly net worth or what?
just put Mike Kelly insider trading. Watch what comes up here. You're going to see this ethics investigation. They've got the guy dead to rights. There it is. Ethics panel rebuke. Yep. Mike Kelly reprimanded by House. Oh, yeah. New York Times had to hide behind their paywall here. Yeah. So here's what happened. This guy, and I want to feature this case because it comes into what's going to happen, right? We are at the early stages of reckoning of these members of Congress. The stuff's finally coming to light. People will finally realize it's real, and then people will slowly get angry. And then until these politicians are facing not getting reelected because of it,
Or
only
jail
at that
time.
point.
I mean, could they land in jail for this?
Technically, let me give you Mike Kelly. Here's why I say no. Mike Kelly was caught insider trading. In 2020, there's a company called Cleveland Cliffs that has steel plants in his district. They got in trouble. They're hemorrhaging cash. The CEO is calling him saying 1,500 people are going to lose their jobs. So what he does is call the president, call a few members of Congress, get them to get the Commerce Department to put tariffs on foreign steel. And what that's going to do is make Cleveland Cliffs steel cheap compared to the others and save the company, right? All good, all what a politician is supposed to do. But what Mike Kelly did within 24 hours of getting confirmation from the Commerce Department that these tariffs are going to go into place, that they're going to save this company, his wife, according to him, goes out and buys thousands of shares of Cleveland Cliffs stock. The thing shoots up when the news comes out. She, I think, tripled or quadrupled her money in like 6 or 8 months. And they've got this entire investigation, text messages, emails. They interviewed the guy's broker. He is dead to rights. And at the end of this multi-million-dollar 5-year House of Representatives Ethics Committee investigation, at the very end of this thing, David, they say, our recommendation is Representative Kelly divests from the stock.
Wow.
And pays any late fees on the fine. So
slap on the hand, slap on the
they
wrist.
asked him to sell the stock, which he already did when he tripled his money. The fine they're referring to is $200.
Are you kidding me?
And that's what we get after this massive, massive investigation. He's busted like no one ever has been. And
so let me ask you this. Well, now that this is all coming out with Doge and they're going to be looking into everyone's finances, I would imagine that how long can people really do this for? I mean, how long can you be tracking these people for? This is going to die on the vine. They're not going to be able to do this anymore.
Oh, yeah, they will. They're going to do it for years. And even if they don't, like, we still track the executives. I mean, you think these guys are good. What do you think the CEO of a little biotech company knows? What do you think?
So you're okay, my bad. So okay.
We're doing both.
You're not just tracking the politicians, you're tracking in the big dogs.
Well, the politicians are the ones most people know about, right? And it angers you because they're living off a salary that you and I are paying. But the corporate insiders do even worse.
So you just found a hack. You just hacked the system. They're doing all the elite. I mean, it's not really. I guess it's not really illegal right now.
It's questionable for sure.
Questionable, but yeah, I mean, they could Do you think they'll face jail time for this stuff? You don't think so, right?
No, no way. The only way I can ever see any, I mean, when's the last time a congressman went to jail?
But they may be made to leave their seats. Maybe they may be
possibly, but I think even for that, it would have to be something treasonous. It would have to be you took money from the People's Republic of China to push this, or you did this foreign company. Because at the end of the day, I mean, these guys are all scumbags, right? I mean, the vast majority of them anyway. But the thing with the insider trading is, and this is kind of a hot take, they're not actually hurting anybody. And I don't say that to defend them. But if we're looking at things we want to prosecute, them buying a stock before it goes up, everyone else who owned the stock made money too, right?
But you're saying something very key point here, depending on where they got their money to play with. I mean, right? I mean,
well, that's true.
That could be a different ball game altogether.
It could be, right? But I mean, generally, by the time you get elected to Congress, you got a few bucks laying around. Even an AOC or something's got 50, 100, 200 grand laying around.
What's their salaries, bro? It's like a couple $100,000 a year, 100,000.
Yeah, 180, 200, something.
And they're worth millions.
Worth millions. Yeah, and some of them come wealthy, but they all leave far wealthier than when they came. And we know they get little backdoor kickbacks here and there. We know they leave and get some cushy job on K Street making $5 million a year for the Rolodex.
So if they're making about 100, let's just round up 200,000 a year, is it possible for them to invest their own money and make these millions if they pick the right investments, like on the stock market, or are they playing with someone else's money?
No, because when you look at, you can see when they file, you can see how much money they put in the trade, right? So they have to disclose their net worth and all. But there's a chart out there. I think I sent it to you. I don't know if you have it, but it shows the top performing members of Congress
share the
in
screen?
2024. Yeah, I can. Hold on.
Why don't you show that? So just to give people a visual, because that's important right now. Because folks, all of this is coming to a head, and this guy Ross Givens has been following this for years, and you've gotten a good turnout from my audience, correct? Pretty good.
Yeah, listen, we've had great feedback, and it's all we're doing is trying to level the playing field. We're showing people, hey, yes, this happens, yes, it's unethical, but you can follow along. You can see what stocks they're buying by the same ones. You can take their advantage and use it for yourself. So we hold these training events like an hour long every couple of months. It's coming up on Thursday. It's 3 Eastern. It's online. It's free to attend. And we show them how to do this. All this is online. You can access it. But yeah, let me take over the screen. I'll show you. This will blow your mind.
Let you have, but it's like all you are the dolphins following the whales' movements, basically.
That's it. Yeah. No, we're not doing anything unethical, right? So what you're looking at here on the left are the top performing hedge funds in the world in 2024. So hedge funds are like these teams of Ivy League, MBAs, millions on research budgets, T1 lines into the exchange. I mean, the best of the best, right? And the best out of that group of elites, the vast majority of them somewhere in this 30, 35, 40% range last year. And that's a fantastic year. On the right are members of Congress. And you've got 60% return, 70, 71, 77, 95, 111, 140, 149%
so who's at the top there?
Returns.
I can't see it. Who's at the top? David
Rausers is at the top, but you got Debbie Schultz in here at 142. She bought a little defense stock back in November that is up like 200+%. She just so happens to sit on the military construction subcommittee.
So, dude, honestly, you're like doing all the work for Doge right now, showing this.
Listen, just how Elon volunteered his time, I am more than happy to come sleep on the floor of the Oval Office and show President Trump what's happening here in Congress. But
I mean, this is amazing to look at. I mean, you have it all mapped out right here.
Yeah, this is an infographic from a site called Unusual Whales that tracks this stuff. They have auto trade programs where people can invest that just copycats what Congress does. They've got like $300 million following their trades.
What?
There's a publicly traded ETF, trades like a stock, that buys stocks when Democrats buy them, sells when they sells them. The ticker is NANC.
Wow. So these are the main members of Congress that you're following right here, right? Correct?
Yeah, this is a lot of them. And it's,
the list goes further and deeper, correct?
It does, and I think I've got. Let me see. Do I have 2023 numbers? I had 2023 numbers up here. Let me see if I've still got them.
So these are the names basically you follow to make your investments.
Yeah, this and the executives, but again, we're just looking for stuff that's so obvious. Like
Wow.
when you've got 3 members of the military construction subcommittee suddenly buying this little $3 German arms manufacturer, it's like that seems like an odd pick, right? When you've got half the board of directors and half the C-suite all piling into this little $6, mining stock that no one's ever heard of, that seems like odd timing. And we've got into stocks that have doubled, tripled. We got into one that went up 1,900% on this stuff. But when you look over here on the right, I mean, it's not like an outlier here and there. Pelosi's not in the news on this because she had 1 or 2 good trades. She's in the news because she slaughters the returns of the best hedge funds in the world every single year by placing a couple of trades from her cell phone. It just doesn't add up. And if you had 1 or 2 standouts, but you got dozens of members of Congress outperforming Wall Street in the index, beating Warren Buffett every year. It just doesn't add up.
Right. So obviously, insider trading, how much of an alert do you get once they buy?
So it depends who's doing it. When it's a member of Congress, they have up to 30 days to report. Sometimes they'll report it the next day, the same week. Sometimes they wait longer. One of the other reasons I mentioned the executives, they only have 2 days. They are required by law to report publicly when they buy, how much, at what price, and they have 48 hours to do it. And I go into this in the training webinar, but there's this giant loophole in the SEC code called the 13B1 rule, where the 12B, 13, anyway, I forget the code, but anyway, as long as they file, report their trade within 48 hours, it's almost impossible to prosecute them for insider trading. So it's like, all I got to do is send this form in and I'm off the hook. They all do it almost immediately. This is another one. This is from a site called QuiverQuant.
Wow. You have all the, you should be conversing with Trump right now on all this with Elon Musk. I mean, you have the goods right here. You have all the goods right here. You've been tracking this. It's insane.
Now, this is their basic Congress buy strategy. It buys when a member of Congress buys, it sells when a member of Congress sells. And it's not, listen, 95% of professional money managers cannot beat the professional indexes over a 5 to 10 year period. 95%. Yet Congress, which is full of business people and lawyers and people from all, these guys magically not beat the market by a little, not 2 or 5 or 10%, 4 times what the S&P 500 index has done. Like, it's the number of coincidences that will be required for all this to not be insider trading are in the quadrillions, right?
That's
so
insane.
It's just undeniable at this point.
So what's your success rate on all this, Ross? I mean, if there is, could you put a percentage to that? Like, for my audience that are like, if they want to get involved here, is there like a success rate? I mean, how does
and the tough thing about success rate is, like, it's assuming you held the stock and never sold it. And we are very risk averse. So if it goes down like 8 or 10%, we're like, nope, we're going to get out because we want to really cut our losses small. But even on our losers, we found that like 70 or 80% of them ended up delivering pretty big gains. But
wow,
I mean, we've never had a losing year. Like, even in the bear market, we made money. We've beat the market every single year. And the reason is, one stock, hey, maybe it was just a coincidence they're all buying and it goes up or down 5 or 10%, doesn't do much and we get rid of it. One of them, goes up a little bit. And then the third one, they were buying because the drug trial release or because some piece of legislation was getting passed, and the stock shoots up 2, 3, 4, 500%. And so you pepper, 1 out of every 3, 4, 5 stocks you buy doubles or triples.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, I would imagine that the politicians don't want anyone hot on their trail. So I would imagine this is is this consistent or is it kind of sporadic? I mean, do they buy some stocks that bomb and tank, or is it always a win-win situation with them?
Well, it's obviously not always a win-win. What we've found is generally, and not always, but the vast majority of the time, it is kind of heads I win, tails I don't lose.
Right.
Because especially with the executives. I mean, listen, black swan events happen, bear markets happen, there's things no one can control. But the odds that, let's just take the corporate guys, the odds the CEO, the CFO, the VP, the general counsel, the board members are all putting hundreds of thousands of dollars of their own money in their own stock at market prices. The odds they're doing that right before they say, we had a terrible quarter, we're going to have a bad year, right? It's just, it's not very common. So generally it's like, oh, it turns out maybe all they're buying was just a coincidence. Maybe they were hoping some deal panned out that didn't, but you don't really lose much or you don't make much. But then the ones that do just really offset that. And
Right.
like we've had, dozens and dozens of triple digit winners.
Well, I guess my question is, how
all this stuff.
often is Nancy Pelosi, when you're following her, how often is she buying stock? Is this something that's every couple months or every once a year? Like how often? What's her activity?
Well, it depends on the year. I mean, when she's more active, she's made more money. Ironically, I have noticed her finally backing off the trading some. She bought
Probably because she's under she's under the lens.
She's under the microscope,
Right,
right? So
right.
she bought a little company called Tempest AI back here in January. I got to show you this. This will really make you angry. Look at this stock she bought. I've marked up here where she bought it, and she bought these little call options, which is a leverage play. When the stock was at $33, he got to 90 in
Wow.
30 days.
Jeez.
Well, that's her most recent one. She just bought calls on AMD as well. So she tends to either go in pretty heavily dollar wise, or else uses options or something to leverage up.
So let me ask you this, for someone like me that doesn't know much about trading the stock market or anything like that. So once you make a buy like that and it shoots up, you just cash out?
Yeah, you have the nice thing is you get a lot of options when you're up 50, 100%. What we
Right.
typically do, and this is kind of something we'll get into in the webinar, but we've got metrics, right? We get up 30, 40, 50% in a month or two. We'll sell half, put some dollars in our pocket to see if it keeps running. If it keeps going, we'll take more profits. And that way you're kind of like nailing down profits along the way. If it's a bigger trade, if it's a Pelosi going in with 10 million in options, or, some CEO with a perfect track record, making his biggest buy ever, we might hold it a little longer. There, it's not like A plus B equals C type situation. Finding the trades is pretty easy. That's what I do in these training events. I show you so many examples, and people realize, like, once I lay that out for them, once I say, okay, here's the stock, here's what's going on, here's all the people that bought it, here's the last time they bought, here you can see they haven't bought in 5 years, and now 8 of them bought in the last week, and like, it's so blatantly obvious.
Yes, yeah, wow.
People just don't know where to find the stuff and how to put it together. So that's why we do these free training events. And look, there's a link below this video, I think. Click. Thursday, 3 Eastern. It's totally free. It's online. We even send people the research on our most recent pick. So before you even come, or if you can't come, we'll send you.
So this is on Thursday.
Yep, this Thursday.
This Thursday. Okay, so I'll make sure folks hit the link down below, get started on this. It's going to be very interesting, Ross, to see what happens to these people, man. I am watching with a hawk eye on this stuff, man. I would love to see them get punished for this, but I got to take your word for it. I think you're right. I think they just get a slap on the wrist. I don't know what's going to happen I think the mortgage fraud stuff can be a little more serious, because
that's clearly breaking law. It's easier to prove, right?
Right. This kind of just, you get a whisper, you do what you're told, boom. You can't really, you're right. I don't think they can be tried for anything on this, but at the same time, I'd love to see it happen.
Listen, I'd love to see it too. I'd love to clean house. I was talking to somebody earlier this week and said, it's Dr. Steve Turley I was talking to. I said, Trump is in such a tough position, because the thing is, like, he wants to come in there and clean house, abolish the deep state, do these things. I mean, he's not the most tactful guy when he does it, but hey, that's what you need to get the job done. But now he's in this position where they painted him as this Hitler, this monster of a guy with armed men on the street dragging strangers in the vans. And so now if he takes people to task, if he prosecutes them according to the law based on what they can prove, it's like a lose-lose situation.
Well, and they're going to think it's retribution. They're going to think he's out for revenge
Exactly.
for
They're
what
going to say
happened
it's
to him. Right.
retribution. Oh, here comes the Nazi out here
Right.
taking more. And it's like, you broke the law, pal. And so what he would have to do, honestly, is go after some Republicans first,
Which I think,
then do Democrats.
first.
And but the problem with that is he burns up all his political capital.
Right.
And right now you've got him, he's got the White House, he's got the majority in Congress, he can get so much done. Like, is it worth sacrificing all the growth we could have as a country to get these 10 or 20 or 50 people, you know?
Right. So if I guess your method here is if you can't beat them, join them.
That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Ross, I appreciate you joining me, man. I learn a lot with you every time. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Folks, hit the link down below. Thursday, what time?
3:00 Eastern. And even if you can't come, we usually send the recording out as well. So be sure to register for that.
They'll see it no matter what.
Yeah, we'll send it to you afterwards if you miss it live.
Got it. Ross, thank you so much for joining me. God bless you, sir.
Take care.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Christine Ulm, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security, and it's